When I was 16, I stopped asking musicians for autographs. I started asking them for their favorite chords. This one is Chick Corea, this one is Herbie Hancock, and I have many more.
Do you actually use them?
All the time, and not only that, there are hundreds and hundreds of incredible experiments in this notebook that really have helped my playing get more creative.
7 experiments,
Most of them weird,
and none of them involve playing scales.
and all of them change the way we play.
We have this weirdness scale, and we're going to measure the weirdness of each one of these exercises, 1 to 7.
Sounds awesome. Let's do it.
All right, so experiment 1.
30 minutes of YouTube a day. Just start with something that you love or something that you would like to know more of, and then just enter the rabbit hole.
So I tried this one for myself. I started with Bulgarian women's choir. And then I ended up with Tuvan throat singing on top of a mountain. And ended showing us a one-note improvisation.
If you start exploring YouTube more like an archaeological site where you can discover gems and types of music that were unknown or that you never heard before, you're more likely to enrich your musical vocabulary and to be more aware to different types of sounds. It's directly connected to your creative power.
In terms of weirdness, the exercise itself, I'd rate this about a 2.
Well, it is a 2 because it's easy to do. Anyone can do it. But depending on how deep you go into the rabbit hole, it can get up to a 6 in weirdness. You know, if you're really curious, it can get wild. Starting your practice session with 10 minutes of free improvisation.
10 minutes may feel like an eternity.
Yeah. And minute 1 is going to be garbage, 2 garbage, 3 garbage, 4 garbage. Starting at minute 5, some good ideas will start to emerge. Trust me.
I'm going to give it a shot.
Minutes. I do think 10 minutes has a special impact because after the threshold of the 5th minute, I believe we start to touch into more of the unknown territory, but you have to endure the first 5 minutes.
And the real important thing with this exercise is you have to record it. You're always going to forget that amazing thing you did at minute 9 unless you have it in your voice memos.
Yeah, listening back to my free improvisations is my favorite toilet pastime.
All right, buddy, what's your weirdness rating on this one?
I would say maybe a 5.5. It can feel really weird, but once you get used, it gets easier. Changing the character of a famous movie scene by changing and improvising the music.
So I picked out the famous Here's Johnny axe scene from The Shining, and so we have this with music. So check this out.
Here's Johnny.
All right, now I gave this scene over to Henrique. Took all the music out. Henrique, can you turn this into a comedy?
Let's try.
Here's Johnny.
Weirdness?
This is kind of fun, but I would say maybe a 4.5.
Yeah.
What do you have?
I'd say 5 or so, and this is really something that every musician should try.
Experiment 4, the dark recesses of your musical taste. I truly believe that our artistic voice is a result of the weird music that we listen to.
And so yesterday, we each found something that we listened to that we figured the other hadn't ever heard before. So I sent Henrique Frank Zappa's Egyptian Strut from the album Lather.
It's a fantastic piece of music. And I sent a folk song sang by Ikue Asasaki, an old folkloric Japanese singer.
So we each took a little bit of time, listened to them, and we're going to improvise based on the music that we heard for the first time.
Yeah, here's what I hear from Zappa. Moving a tritone between chords from B flat to E major, very unusual, and at the same time like epic and regal and fantastic. And I believe no one is gonna create their own unique voice just by listening to the mainstream. You know, if everybody listens to the exact same famous artist, everybody would sound exactly the same.
Weirdness level, what do you got?
I think this would be a high one. I would rank a 6.5.
I'd give it like a 6 plus for sure. Experiment number 5, creative constraints.
Well, maybe you can like improvise only using 3 different notes and as rhythmically creative as you can, for example. So I'm reducing the number of notes you have available, but you have all rhythmic freedom you want.
All right, so what are you going to give me? What notes?
Maybe you can try like E, A, and D sharp. Great.
All right, for you, give me B, G sharp, and G.
Bring it on, man. I already love how it sounds. Oh, pretty fun.
It's like training by running in sand. When you're out on the asphalt again, you're going to run so much faster.
There's also something about the paradox of choice. The more choices you have, the less choices you end up making. It reminds me of Mozart used to have this, what he called like musikalisches Würfelspiel, which means like rolling musical dice. And he would compose music by rolling dice as a way to create a creative constraint. The number on the dice would be the number that he would have to then, the number of notes he would use. So that was a way of creating that constraint, that challenge to his music. And, you know, no one can deny that it's pretty awesome music. So what level of weirdness would you classify this at?
This experiment can get pretty weird, but I'd put it about 5 of 7 in terms of weirdness. It's just more awkward than it is weird.
Keeping a creative dictionary.
So with a creative dictionary, you can mark down any great ideas you hear, any activity that you do in your practice log. And that's exactly what I do. I have like my practice log here in my iPad, so I can keep track of what I'm doing, things that I played that I really, really like.
So my approach is a little different. I have, hundreds and hundreds of snippets of solos I transcribed, harmonies, parts of fugues, chords that are interesting. I have a phrase that I love from a Brad Mehldau solo over Ode, or number 19, B minor. Absolutely incredible.
So in terms of a weirdness scale, keeping a creative dictionary is probably just a 2 or a 3. But in terms of being essential, it's a 7. Experiment number 7, steal a stranger's voice. Now, this one is actually probably the weirdest one. A lot of us musicians know that we can learn from listening to other musicians, but have you ever thought about listening to the way that people speak?
There's so much to learn from human voice, from human inflection, and that's a great way to develop a really unique phrasing if you're inspired by human speech, while at the same time making sure that the melody is still familiar to our ears because it's derived from actual speech.
So Henrique is an expert at this. He's spent a huge part of his career really diving into the way that people speak and creating worlds of music out of it. Henrique, show us what you do.
Sure, I'll show an example where the 7-year-old is reciting a poem to his classmates.
What's the hardest part about transcribing people's speech?
It's a fascinating process. Many times it's hard because many of the notes in the speech are not tempered, so it's in between E or F, But that actually gives you a lot of freedom because you can decide as a composer to approximate, and our ears are very forgiving when you do that. So if there's a note that's not exactly a C, but you kind of approximate to a C, our ears don't even notice. And there's so much richness in terms of melodic material, rhythmic, note repetitions, intervals, high leaps that I would never have ever imagined if it wasn't for this voice.
So, experiment number 7, weirdness rating 7. Absolutely.
I think this is a 7. Yeah.
7 experiments,
Most of them weird,
and none of them involve playing scales.
and all of them change the way we play.
If you'd like all 7 of these written out, you can download our free ebook right there in the description.
And if you want to see what happens if the experiments get even weirder, subscribe.
We're just getting started.